So what is going on, guys? I am Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another zombies video, where today we are back with a zombies Q&A, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with the zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go, and enjoy. So the first question of the day is from I'm Mad Bachelor, and you say, hey BOA, why did Dr. Monty create the gobblegums? Well, I've always found the gobblegums interesting because they were introduced later on in our zombie storyline in BO3. As you say, we know they were created by Dr. Monty, and even in game we can see he has his own factory, which is weird because Dr. Monty is supposed to be this godlike figure. He can make things appear and disappear, which is the reason we have the Pack-a-Punch machine, the mystery box, the perk machines, and all of the different maps, because Dr. Monty teleports them from place to place, he gives them to us. So if Dr. Monty can supposedly make things appear out of thin air, then why does he have his own factory to create the gobblegums? Surely he could just think it and then create it. And this is also interesting because in Dr. Monty's factory in the background we can see there is a conveyor belt with perk bottles going along, yet we know it wasn't necessarily Dr. Monty who created the perks. They were made by people such as Group 935, the Ascension Base, Division 9, and other research groups. Dr. Monty just assisted. He did little things on the side. He also created the jingles. Yet we can see in Dr. Monty's factory there is a conveyor belt with bottles going along. That is, unless these aren't perk bottles, and these bottles are maybe for the gobblegums. Perhaps the liquid in here is what is used to create them. But even still, why does a godlike figure such as Dr. Monty have his own factory? As we can see in game, we use liquid divinium, and in return we get the gobblegums, and then when we actually play the game we can retrieve them from Monty's gobblegum machine. But getting back to your main question, why did he create them? Well, the main reason would have been to help out the Primis and Ultimus characters and anyone else who would have used them. We know in order for the cycle to continue, the Primis characters, the Ultimus characters, and other people had to survive. If the cycle was to be broken, that would mean Dr. Monty would cease to exist, and so he knew the cycle had to continue if he wanted to carry on living, and in order for the cycle to continue, Primis and Ultimus need to live. The next question from Brad Horn says, hey BOA, why do the perks come from the mushroom cloud in Nuketown Zombies? Now there could be a couple of answers for this, we don't have a definitive one. We do see in this map the perk machines falling from the sky. They appear to be coming out of the massive mushroom cloud that's gone off, caused by a nuclear explosion. But why are the perks falling from the sky into our map and not just there on the ground already, as they are every other time? Well, as I mentioned in the previous question, since the perk machines are given to us by Dr. Monty, could this be something to do with him? Is he just being inventive and giving us the perk machines in a different way? I guess that's kind of like the lame answer. I suppose the other one could be that the perk machines were blown into the air when the nuclear explosion went off, and what we are seeing is them falling back to the ground. Or you could say perhaps they're falling from Moon. We know Nuketown and Moon are taking place at the same time. These perks were on Moon, so could they be falling from there? We don't have an official answer, so there's really loads of different theories you could come up with. It's totally up to you guys. To me, what I would say makes the most sense is it must have something to do with the nuke. If there is a story reason behind it, maybe they were blown into the air and we just see them coming back down. Teen Wolf Gamer says, hey BOA, why is there unlimited amounts of zombies? Well, whilst that does seem to be the case, you have to ask the question, is it? Because there are 7.8 billion people on Earth. Of course, we play our different zombies maps at different dates. Sometimes they're in the future in 2035 or 2025. Some maps are on present day, like Call of the Dead, which was in 2011. And some maps are in the past, the 40s, the 1960s. But right now in 2020, there are over 7 billion people on Earth. In fact, I think it's closer to 8 billion now. So do we actually have unlimited zombies? Or are we just fighting the 7 billion that are probably on Earth? Because remember, Element 115 spread across the globe. After the 3 rockets hit Earth from Moon, leaving it fractured and broken, there weren't many survivors left. I would guess hundreds, maybe a couple of thousand. It could be less, it could be a bit more. But then everyone else on Earth, the 7 billion plus people, what happened to them? Either they died, they were killed when the Earth was fractured, or they were infected by 115 and turned into the undead. So if there are 7 billion zombies on Earth, there's no way we fought that amount. I doubt our characters throughout their whole cycle would have fought even a billion, maybe a million, a couple of million perhaps, but that still leaves billions of zombies on Earth, so maybe there aren't unlimited. It's just the fact that pretty much everyone on Earth is infected, and that's why it seems like there's an infinite amount. Or, as you say, we could have unlimited zombies. How that would work, I'm not too sure though, because once they're dead, they're dead. We don't see them come back alive, and they can't just magically appear out of thin air. These are people that have been infected. So giving you my answer, I wouldn't say there's an unlimited amount. It's just the fact that there are billions of zombies on Earth, so it just feels like they never stop coming. A question from Zandon says, hey BOA, why does Dr Monty give us new weapons every game in Call of Duty BO1, 2, 3 and 4? Now obviously you could say this has absolutely nothing to do with the story. The reason why we see different guns from different eras in different games is because they are different games. BO1 took place in the 60s, BO2 was different dates in the future and the past, BO3, well it was in the future but we didn't have a campaign, and then wait, was it oh, we did have a campaign, it was just god awful. And then BO4, yeah, that one didn't have a campaign, that was in the future as well. So you could just say the reason we have new weapons in every card is because they're all set in different eras and they're different games. But we do know this has an answer in terms of storyline. If you listen to this radio from Dr Monty in Origins, he says this.
When 115 is channeled towards the ancient stones, an energy field appears to drag unknown objects into our reality. Is it possible that element 115 is disrupting the space-time continuum itself? How else could an ancient box created eons ago bring forth weapons from different eras, perhaps including even our own future? Further study is needed to understand these powerful and unpredictable forces.
He tells us that element 115 is disrupting the space-time continuum. He goes on to say, how else could an ancient box, being the mystery box, created eons, bring forth weapons from different eras? So we are told that it's element 115 disrupting the space-time continuum that causes weapons from different eras, the future or the past, to appear in present day. That's why we see futuristic weapons in maps that take place in the 60s, such as Kino, or Origins, which released on BO2, a futuristic game. We saw futuristic weapons in that map, even though it took place in 1918. Plus, like I said earlier, it is Dr Monty who gives us the mystery box, but the reason why we see weapons from different eras is because of element 115 disrupting the space-time continuum. The next question from Liam says, if the Keepers can create universes, can't they destroy them as well? So wouldn't they just destroy the Dark Ether? I love your videos, keep up the great work. Well, the answer to that would have to be no, because the ether isn't a physical space. I believe it is a matter, because from what Dr Monty tells us in the Alpha Omega radios, he says Argotha is a physical space that is constructed and exists of the ether. So the ether, I guess you could say, is the fabric that Argotha is constructed of. And because of that, there's no way to directly destroy the ether or the dark ether. In order to do that, you first need to destroy the physical space, which would be Argotha. Destroying Argotha means destroying the ether. And what Dr Maxis also tells us, that there's no way to destroy the ether unless Argotha is destroyed first. And if we go to the Canorium on one of the pages, it says, the Keepers create the Summoning Key, a device that allows them to manipulate the ether, holding power to alter reality itself. They use it to create Argotha. So we are told that the Keepers created Argotha using the Summoning Key, which allowed them to manipulate the ether. So getting back to your main question, you said if the Keepers created universes, can't they just destroy them too? Wouldn't they just destroy the Dark Ether? And the answer is no, because the Dark Ether or the ether are not universes, they are matter. The ether is what places such as Argotha and other universes, I guess, are created of. Passvex says, I have a question. When Stuhlinger is talking to Richthofen and Buried and you do the Richthofen side of the Easter egg, he is now more in control of Stuhlinger. But in Tag der Toten, he's not in control of him and can only talk to him. I actually misread this question when I picked it out, but hey, I'm here now, I may as well answer it, although it is a simple one. But the answer is, it is the Maxis side of the Easter egg that actually happened in Buried, not the Richthofen side. Yes, there are two different Easter eggs you can choose from, but canon, what happened in terms of storyline, it was the Maxis side. The Richthofen side never actually took place. As you mentioned, if you do the Richthofen Easter egg and activate the final polarization device for him, in the end we see Richthofen kills Maxis, he ceases to exist. He then partially takes over Samuel's body, allowing him to have control on Earth, and also dooms Samantha. So if this was canon, would Richthofen still have control over Samuel's body in Tag der Toten? And the answer is still no, because we know later on down the line after Buried, I think it was just after Origins, the version of Richthofen that had control of Stuhlinger in Buried was killed. Dr. Monty wiped him from existence, so even if the Richthofen side did happen, he still later on in Tag wouldn't have full control over Stuhlinger. So there we go. That is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. And as always, we'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and until then, goodbye.